Hello and welcome to the eMAM DaVinci Resolve Workflows webinar. My name is Chuck Bulow. I'm the VP of Business Development here at eMAM. Also have David Miller with us. He's our president based in New York. I'm down in North Carolina. And in today's webinar, we're going to be talking about how eMAM is integrated with DaVinci Resolve and how you share and manage projects and media through the eMAM system, through DaVinci Resolve panels. So a little bit of housekeeping on the GoToMeeting system. The panel there, you can actually go in and ask questions and so on. So if you do have any questions during the webinar, go ahead and fill those in the questionnaire spot on the panel there for GoToMeeting or GoToWebinar. And then we'll go ahead and answer those questions towards the end of the webinar here. All right, so we'll go ahead and get into it. I'm going to go ahead and go through a few slides on the PowerPoint, and then we'll get into a demo of how it's all integrated and working together here. So just to give you an idea here, first off, who is eMAM? Again, if you're not familiar with eMAM, we are a media asset management company and software. We manage all types of media. That could be video, audio, images, graphics, documents, PowerPoints, caption files, audio files, whatever it might be. We can manage, organize, and then, of course, collaborate and share and deliver all that media. We do support live ingest, file ingest, categories with permissions to manage all types of media, and then, of course, who gets to see what and what they get to do in the system. We also, of course, as we're going to talk about here with Resolve panels, being able to then manage, view, and see content within the eMAM, and then import those into the Resolve projects, and then be able to then produce and then store and manage all the projects within the eMAM system. Collaboration, again, we share content either through review and approve process, or through eShare, which is being able to share multiple assets and proxy views, and then of course give them access to download and so on media to those internally or externally to the eMAM system. We also can deliver all types of media virtually anywhere, on-prem, in the cloud, and so on, and then of course archive the media locally or in the cloud as well. So many options here. You can run eMAM in the cloud, all in the cloud, or on-prem or in a hybrid mode there as well. So this is kind of where we look at most of our clients. Before the pandemic, most folks were just go ahead and launch the system and run it on local servers. Then we had a number of clients moving to the cloud or more towards like a hybrid mode. So that's where like the eMAM system's actually up in the cloud, managed from the cloud, and then maybe possibly project or proxies are stored in the cloud, and then maybe the original content stored locally on SAN or NAS systems on LTO library storage as well. So lots of options here, and we can talk with you about in other, if you do have any questions about that offline, we can talk a little bit more on how that all works. So, all right, so today's setup that I have in my system is we have the eMAM system up in AWS. We have all the proxies and the original content stored in S3 buckets. And then, of course, through permissions and access through logins through eMAM and through the panel, you're able to then access that content. So as a remote editor, I'm in North Carolina, so I'm actually going to be downloading and uploading content and project files and so on, all through the check-in, check-out process through eMAM, and being able to look through the panel, look for assets and so on. So this is kind of how this environment's going to operate here during today's demo. But you do have options to where you can actually run, as I mentioned, everything in the cloud, or also in a hybrid mode. You can put originals up in the cloud or also on local servers and local LTO as well. So this is an option with local or in hybrid modes. So you do have those options as well. Remote editors will log into the eMAM system, get access to the media, and then download or link directly to the original content, depending on where that remote editor is. So that's what's really key, is wherever that person is that's connected and wherever the original content is, that will dictate on kind of how the process works. So upload or download or just simply linking to the media. So, and we can talk further with that offline with you if you'd like to kind of get an idea of what options are there as well. Okay, so the Resolve panel. So this is the window as you're in DaVinci Resolve, looking into the eMAM system and finding content, searching for that content or projects as well. Once you put a project up there, you can import the media by downloading it to the local workstation, as I am going to do here during the demonstration. Or again, of course, if you're linked or close to the media on a network, you can, of course, link to the media without downloading. We can then connect with a proxy version or a full res version of the media. And then, of course, I can then save and check in or check out projects, and eMAM manages all the versions of those projects and so on. And I'll show you how that's done as well. So on the collaborative side, again, with sequences and projects and so on, you can share those projects. Blackmagic actually has Blackmagic Cloud, where you can actually save the project to the cloud, and then everybody's available to be able to link to that project or open up that project, and then do some edits and then check it back into the eMAM system for storage and archive and so on of that. And typically, what people will do is, in most of the cases with eMAM, they'll actually check out the media as a proxy version first, and then put content together with some effects and so on, and then be able to send off a review and approve of that project in a proxy mode. And then once it's done, you can then go in and then finish with the original content, because through the panel, we manage that linkage between proxy versus original or full res media. And so you don't have to worry about it. Start with a proxy first, edit, and then, of course, relink with the original content. And I'll show you how that's done here within the panel. And then, of course, you can do QC finishing and then deliver the media. That's where, when the sequence has been uploaded back up to the MAM system, you can use the MAM and workflows within the MAM to actually then run QC, delivery profiles, and so on, and, of course, archive full media, and then, of course, also the project files as well. So lots of options here that you can kind of go into. So the DaVinci Resolve panel here, again, it's seamless integration with DaVinci Resolve. Basically, it's a panel that opens up, and I'll show you how this is done here and how it's set up as well. But the idea really here is that you have DaVinci open, you just open up the panel that's available to you. That then is where you log into the MAM system as if you were logging into eMAM separately on a web browser. You do the same with the extension panel. So you're actually logging in, looking at the into the MAM system, all based on your permission levels as a user, by the way. So, categories and different projects and so on that are available to you because you've been given permission, then you'll be able to access that media and then manage that content, and also, of course, the projects as well. So, again, we do store and manage all the project files, similar to Adobe Premiere and all the Premiere side of things, but then on the Resolve side, we store, of course, keep the linkage with all the media that's assigned to that project, and then, of course, you can check in or check out or import or export the project from Resolve after you do some edits, do some color, and so on. And you also have the ability to, a lot of customers actually do some edits in Premiere and then import that project into Resolve for color correction and so on, because it's got a nice, sweet little interface to be able to adjust color and so on in Resolve. So you would actually download the project for Premiere and also the Resolve, and then be able to then communicate and integrate the different timelines with that into Resolve. I don't know how it's done. I'll let the editors and those who are smarter than me on importing the different projects, but that is also possible there as well. Okay, so panel setup is quite simple. So one thing I need to mention is, on the Resolve side, DaVinci Resolve, you have to do the purchase to use the panel. You have to purchase the Resolve version. So there is a free version, but you don't have access to the panel. with that version of the product. You have to do the purchase, the advanced DaVinci Resolve, which I think is under 300 US, to then be able to have access and then be able to install the panel. So the panel, and I'll show you where this is in eMAM, but in the panel, you go ahead and just click on the Resolve plugin panel through your account and through the apps website on your eMAM system or window, and then download the plugin. On Mac or PC, you have different locations where you put a eMAM Resolve folder, and you place it in that plugin's location, either on the Mac or PC, and we can give you full instructions. Also, inside of the eMAM system, it does give you full instructions on this page here as well, within your account, and then of course on the apps page there. So the install is quite simple, which is nice. I mean, it's just a folder, you copy and then you paste it in the library applications for my Mac here, support Blackmagic, DaVinci, and so on, and put the copy of the folder in there, and then just go ahead and start up or restart DaVinci Resolve at that point. Okay, so launching the panel, as I'll show you here in a second, but it's quite easy where you're going to the workspace and then dropping down to workflow integrations. And then once you've done that copy of that folder, the eMAM panel will show up, and of course you just go ahead and select it, and it opens up as a separate window within the Resolve project. So you'll see it as a floating window, and then of course you can just go back and forth between the Resolve and the eMAM panel to look at different assets and so on. And of course within the panel, you can go in and look for different content and so on. But the very first thing we're going to show you how to do is the setup, which is quite easy, where you're just doing an opening on your local laptop or desktop, different folders. You're creating 2 folders, and then we'll show you how to do the setup on that. That's where the media will be downloaded to, and then we also use a temporary folder or a folder just for temporary files, that when we're doing the export back up into the MAM system, we use a folder for that as well. So there's 2 folders that you're going to be creating there as well. So again, you can search for projects, you can search for media based on a category structure, or look for individual assets, and of course then download those assets into your system. You'll always have a dashboard, by the way, as to what's going on, which is quite nice. So when you're downloading, you'll always see that there is a dashboard and there is a download process happening, and then of course on the upload as well, to be able to see that. Okay, so let's go ahead and just start taking a look at this. We will go in, and with this, then I'll first show you eMAM login. So this is my credentials here. Now I'm an admin, so I see everything. So for those of you who are just users and so on, typically you can go in and just get access to the media that you have access to, and all based on your permission levels and so on. And what we've done here is we first off make it quite easy to upload the media. So in this demonstration, the process here is that you would centralize and upload and centralize all of the media into the MAM system first. Okay, so for this demonstration, that's what I'm going to be doing. And so with that, then I could have a folder structure already on my laptop from a camera, or media files that are already set up and organized for me. I can actually upload that folder with that folder, and then be able to go in and look at different things where, let's see, if I got some sample video here, like for pixel video, if I had all of this already here, I could just upload that folder, and this structure would show up as what we call categories. And so it's basically what you can do is you can tag the media, add metadata, you can add tags and so on the upload process. And then of course you can go in and build out your custom metadata structure as well, and then tag all that media that you're uploading like it's part of the webinar. In this case here, I just put in contributors DaVinci Resolve webinar. So I can easily then go in and search for that content. But what we're able to do then is with this is go in and then set up, like I've set up a category here with my audio. So I have audio, I have credits, I have graphics, I have video, and then I have, of course, voiceovers and so on. So the idea within the eMAM system is that you're setting up, say, a project, you go in and with that project, you upload all the content with the different categories and media assigned to it, and of course metadata as well. But it makes it quite nice to be able to just go in and organize this content first before you start the edit process. Okay. So next, what we would do, so with all that media now available for my editors or myself here during the demonstration, I'm able to then now access that content. Okay, so what I can do here is I can actually start a new project. So if I go in and I'll just type in, let's see, webinar demo 002. Okay, so we'll just create this project, and I have now a project here. Now, what I'd like to do is import that media that's been uploaded for me. And as I mentioned, you have that workspace here, and then also the integration with the eMAM system. Now, before I show that to you, one thing I forgot to show you is on the eMAM system for uploading the Resolve panel, this is where you kind of go in and look at the radio button that's up at the top upper right-hand corner, log into your account, and the apps location. And this is actually where that plugin Resolve is. So if I click on it here, this will give you the full description of exactly what to do, and then once you download that. So again, this is under your account and under apps, and then selecting the Resolve panel to download. Okay, so now that you're in this Resolve, I can then go in, and then once you copy that folder and so on the workflow integration, I can hit the eMAM panel here. And so this will open up, and I'm now logging into that URL that connects you with the eMAM system. Typically, when you sign up for eMAM or do our SaaS model and so on, you get a URL to log into, and you connect with that URL. And then you're asked to actually go in and put in your credentials here. So I'll put in my credentials. There we go with the login. And then once you hit go, this will open up the panel. Now, you'll probably have noticed that I've got these different business units here. This is one option that you have for the eMAM system, where I can actually divide up one eMAM system into multiple business units where they're completely separate with storage and graphics and workflows and so on, but they're all operating off the same eMAM system. So that is kind of a unique feature that eMAM offers you as well. So within the panel, the very first thing that you need to set up is this panel setting for those folders. Okay, so these are paths to a local folder where when I download, I'm going to be having the files in the media files or downloaded to a certain folder that Resolve is actually going to have access to. Then there's also a second folder that is where we use, this is used for eMAM to use temporarily to do temporary files on the export back up into the eMAM system. So these are the different folders that we offer or that you have to set up and so on. And that's it. That's the setup that you have for the panel. You'll notice at the lower right, this is where I'm logged in. You also have different options and viewing options. So if you want different thumbnails or just go ahead in the list view and so on, you do have the ability to kind of change that there as well. You can look for a project and then download a project and then start on it. You can also go in, which is what we're going to do today, is bring in the media based on that folder structure, which is the categories that I have. So again, you can actually go in and then search for this as well. So if I went in and search for DaVinci Resolve, it will then go specifically to, so if I had thousands of categories in there, you could then narrow down specifically what you're looking for. Okay, so this media is available for me to actually access and then now download. And then also you can look for individual assets as well. So if you go in and search for, some of the webinar content and so on, you can look at those and then open those, preview those, and so on. We also have sorting here. So if you are going in and looking specifically for content, and again, I can go to the thumbnail view to kind of give you a different look at it here. But you have the ability to kind of go in and do your own search filters as well, and then sort them in any way, like by name or by dates and various things there as well. So lots of options there to be able to look for the content. So we'll go back and look for DaVinci again and look for the webinar content. And so with this webinar content, this again is all of those folders and categories. Now what's going to happen here is once I hit the download button here, in the background, you're going to start to see the bins or the folders opening up here, the media folders opening up inside of this DaVinci Resolve project that I have going on. So as soon as I hit the download button here, there's a question that comes up. Okay, so this is where if you set up in the eMAM system, when you ingested that media, I can create a mezzanine proxy, and that could be any quality of Kodak and so on that you want to use or allow your editors to use as an offline kind of edit project, edit in offline mode. So again, with eMAM, you can do an ingest profile that says, okay, take the original, create the proxy, but also create a mezzanine copy that is at this quality, at this Kodak, that my editors are going to use to then edit first with. You also then could link with the original if you wanted to, instead of the mezzanine copy. Typically, as I mentioned before, most will go with the mezzanine copy first, edit, and then go ahead and then relink up with the original content. So everything now in the timeline would be original content versus proxy content. So again, this is an option that we can do, and we'll just do the proxy version. We'll be localizing the media. If we didn't choose this and we were connected on a network to the original content, let's say you kept everything on-prem and then you have access to the network and have access to that media directly, you wouldn't have to localize it. Okay, you could just link directly to it. So we'll go ahead and hit the OK button here. Now you'll start to see all of the media start showing up here. And once that media is all done, then we can just move right on over. As that disappears now, it's now all been uploaded into our project here for the webinar. So you can go in and then switch over to the edit mode. And of course, now all of those categories start showing up as media folders here, like audio, VO, graphics, and credits, and video. Okay, so and again, I'm not going to pretend to be an editor here, but we'll kind of show you what options you have in this case here. So the media now has been localized. It's the proxy version, but the media is still up in the MAM system as well. So it's just saved up there. So you brought it down, so now you can start editing with the content. Now, one thing that you have here is you have also the markers that came with eMAM. So you'll see as I wand over here that this is a marker that someone put and logged in the eMAM system. So we have a logging tool that you can just watch media and go in, out, or marker, add a marker, add a marker. And so what I can do here is from that marker, I can create an endpoint, and then I can also, from the second marker, I put in here for the out point. So I can actually go in, drag this in, and then insert that onto my timeline. And so now what I have is, the video here, and then being able to, oops, gotta bring it back here. So with that then, Core, I can, you're not gonna hear the audio here, but I have then now this media clip on here. So I can actually go in and look at other media with the same way. So if I click on here, double click on it, do in and out points. And again, I'm not going to pretend to be the editor here, but the idea here is that you have access to marker information coming over from the MAM system. With that, then they can go in and then, of course, do all types of edits and so on with that. And then I can just do another insert here as well, and so on. Now, other items here, if you needed to go and get more media from eMAM, you can, again, go back to the extension panel here and then go find more content and import that. You also have options to then add or import media that's on your local drives. So it's not all necessary that you have to have media that's coming from the eMAM system. I could just have it coming from my local drive here and add it to the system. Now, those new assets are not inside of the eMAM system. So those will be uploaded as new assets and assigned to this project when we upload. Okay, so with this, again, I don't want to go through any more types of edits, but I'm gonna show you how we do versioning and check in and check out here. But the idea here now is that if I'm done with my edits, I can go back to the panel, and with this panel then do an upload. Okay, so the idea here is that I've got a webinar demo 002. It's a project. I've got the media linked with it locally here with the proxy, and I'm going to now upload this project that I've made edits to and the linkage of this media back up into the eMAM system for either me to save, archive, or share with others that they could check out as well. So I have now a timeline here. Actually, you know what? Before I do that, I actually want to go and change the name of this timeline here. Let's see, webinar demo sequence 002. There we go. We get rid of that one. That's one thing I wanted to do, just to save it there. So we'll go back and do that upload again real quick. There we go. So we'll hit the upload button here. And so what it's going to do is, let me cancel this up here as well, and I will upload again. So what it's doing now is it's going to then check first what assets are needing to be uploaded back up into the eMAM system. Okay, so these assets are already there in the system here. So if there were new assets, they would all be linked here and then checked here. So I'm going to, for some reason these are showing up here, but I'm going to deselect these so we're not uploading here. But the idea here is that with this, I'm able to then now select the file. So if new assets that I uploaded that are not in the eMAM system, they would show up there. I also have the ability to ingest and render out the project and send it up to the eMAM system as well. So I can actually take this webinar demo sequence and transcode that and then deliver that up. I also can go in and I'm going to save the project in my projects folder here with the sequence as well, okay? And then I can add user tags. These tags and the assignments are for the project file first, and then the new asset, which will be a sequence, I'm gonna put a tag in there as well. And then of course also metadata, I can go in and then tag this media as, you know, webinar demo 02, and then save this, and then that's just media or metadata tagged to the new media that's being uploaded. So once you hit the upload button, the Resolve has the ability then to transcode and render out this file and then upload it up into the eMAM system. So you'll always have a way in which you can look for this new sequence that's being created, but transcode it. Basically, they have a transcode option here to be able to then transcode it and put it up into the eMAM system. You'll always have then a dashboard basically telling you exactly what's going on. You'll always know as well what's being ingested into the eMAM system. And then when you go back into the eMAM system, I can actually go in and then look at, then if I go in and refresh in this system here, first off, what I'll see then under projects is there's the project that's being uploaded. And as soon as the transcoding done, and we won't have to sit around and wait for that, the transcode will happen and then bring it basically into the eMAM system as a new asset. So that sequence will show up now as a new asset. Now, if I want to look at the projects that are being uploaded, here is that webinar upload process that's going on right now. And then with that, then all of the media that's linked to it. And so there's also an option here too. If you wanted to link more media, you could just drag and drop right into the project as well. But we will keep track of then all of the versions of that project. Now I've created a couple here that we can kind of see, where you'll see there was a first version that I had and then a second version that I had. And so when we look at like the media here, and I look at, let me get the file version, the file version here, let's see, there it is. I can see though that I can keep track of multiple versions of the sequence. So this is another thing that we do. Not only do we keep track of the versioning of the project, but we also keep track of the different sequences that you make changes to, and then maybe do a proxy of that sequence, and then be able to share that, which version you want to share. So you just select which face version you're going to show, and then at that point, this is the media that you would show and deliver or share within a review and approve. Okay, so to kind of wrap it up here, again, it's media that's uploaded into the eMAM system. The eMAM then organizes that content. I can then export that content to a project file or to a project within the DaVinci Resolve. And so then import that through the extension panel, and then create my project, upload my project back up into the eMAM system for someone else to then download or use. But you also have under Resolve that Blackmagic Cloud, you can use that as well to store projects outside of the eMAM system to share, and everybody's working. But once they upload back into the eMAM system, then we keep track of all of the versions they've created of the different projects. So lots of options there as well. Okay, so I think we'll wrap it up. Dave, I wanted to see if we had any questions that maybe had come about. Maybe we can kind of go through those now.
Great, thanks a lot. Couple questions. Thanks, Chuck. Any other questions, please put them in the question panel. I think how to get the Resolve panel, I think we answered that. You download from the eMAM web interface, and Resolve you get directly from their website.
Yes.
And second question, so advantages of Resolve, why are people thinking about or moving towards Resolve?
I think though that when you look at the Resolve product and so on, I mean the options that it offers there as well. So if I escape out of here, go back to Resolve. What's kind of unique about Resolve is that they have different options here for various things, where if you're doing edits, you're just managing media and so on, but also maybe coloring, edits, audio and so on. So a number of clients actually use Premiere, but then also import those projects directly into Resolve to do color as well, or do some final edits. So it's kind of interesting that with Resolve and so on, we have different options with audio corrections and various things like that. And then of course, distribution as well. They have many options for distribution to different types. I could export out as a Premiere XML and then or Final Cut and so on. So there's a lot of options in Resolve that help you to extend your workflows. So lots of good options there.
Yes, and I mean, some people like the economics of it, and some people like also the sharing options with it. But yeah,
yep, exactly.
In time, and then speaking of color correction, so if someone's doing Resolve for color and Premiere for editing, how does eMAM work in that kind of environment?
Yeah, so that, as I mentioned, we can store Premiere projects, we can store Resolve projects as well. Typically what will happen is if there's a sequence that needs to be color corrected and so on, they can download or import or export then the, import the project from Premiere, and then also open up Resolve and then import the project sequence into Resolve and then do your color corrections, you know, from that point. And then I think they also export out, I don't want, you know, talk out of turn here, but it's, I believe that they also export then the color corrected images and so on that then are imported back into the Premiere project, and then they can finish there or even just finish right here within Resolve. So I think there's a few options in there. I would check with Premiere or Resolve or the folks over at Blackmagic and talk with them about that for more details.
Great. And seeing if anybody had additional questions for us.
Yeah,
today.
one other thing I did want to point out too is there is the option for Lucid Link if you're working cloud-based. There are options for when you do that download process that I was doing, I could actually download it to a folder that's in my Lucid Link account and then actually share that media with other users without having them to download. They don't have to download any content because they would then mount this folder onto their system and they can edit directly from that S3 bucket that's up in AWS. So that also is kind of a unique option as well. And then also, as I mentioned, Blackmagic has Blackmagic Cloud. I use that where I'll just put a project in there, and then Emily from our marketing department, she can actually then open up that project and finish and do all her things, and then save it back to the cloud. And then I can take that project and export or upload it back up into the eMAM system so I can archive it or save it for later use as well. So those are other options.
Great. I think that answered all the questions today. If anybody wants a recording of today's session, let us know. If not, you know, happy to have you, you know, look and test the system, hit our website, talk to our partners. But we're very excited about, you know, this combination and what we can do with it and how we can help customers. So thanks for your interest today, and happy to hear from you. Have a great day. Thank you. Bye-bye.